Oh, God.
Go down real fucking good.
Yeah.
All right. So when we talk about successful businesses and hard work, there's a good group of people that we know. And today we have an awesome gentleman joining us on the podcast who has a great business, a great story, a legit business, a genuine business, a successful business. And we're here to find out a little bit more about that business today. And hopefully we'll learn something and tune in as well. So Stephen, Matthew, we're back. Matthew Everingham from Richard Matthew Real Estate. Stephen, let's get into it.
Thank you, Josh. Matt, before we begin, I'll just get you to introduce yourself to everyone first, and then we'll jump into it.
I feel like I can't beat that introduction from Josh there. I mean, I feel like that's the nicest he's ever. Hold on. When I pay the bill at his restaurant, I suppose it's a little bit different. But yeah, we very kind. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me.
Well, I do put the real estate agent levy on your bill. So,
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I could never figure out how we got to that amount, but it must be that.
You're lucky you let him in. I wouldn't let any real estate agent in my restaurant.
There you go. We started off well. Thank you for the introduction and the invite, boys. I appreciate it. Yeah, we are. Richard Matthews Real Estate is our business. We own a few real estate offices through the inner and southwest of Sydney. So Strathfield, Summerhill, Georges Hall, which is in our southwest area. We've been going now almost 13 years, close to 50 people that work for us. And it started off just as two blokes, rather like yourself, sitting there on a couch and coming up with a business.
That's awesome, mate. 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Did you enter the industry?
No.
Bring us back to the beginning. Where does Matthew start? He's entering the industry. How old are you?
17.
17. Just out of school?
Just finished school.
ripe age.
Ripe age. A few years older. Although I got to say, I absolutely love the heading of the podcast.
Here we go.
Hold on. Yeah. Definitely young. Not dumb, apparently.
Yep.
And the broke part, let's see how 23 plays out. But 17 entering.
I'm sure you do pretty well.
Well, he's only broke because he pays his taxes, okay? So.
Legitimate business, as you said.
Yes.
But 17, literally fresh out of school. And my dad says to me, I finished the HSC, and he says to me, look, you're not going to sit around and do fuck all for 6 months while you wait for uni. Mm-hmm. You need to get out there and work and become a man and get out there and actually learn about life, which was at the time, it's like, I've just done all of this schooling. I'm going to get this time to do what I want. And he was right. I wasn't obviously ready for anything bar that. So a mate of his ran a real estate business. They got me a gig, which is literally probably 100 metres from where I work today, from where my main office in Strathfield is located. And I started there as a 17-year-old kid, kind of my first job when I walked in there. I remember my boss at the time, who's still there, his first job for me was washing the window, cleaning the window. So he said to me at the time, he said, look, I don't know what you think real estate is. He goes, but your first gig is every Saturday morning you'll walk in and you're going to clean this window. And that sticks with me today as a 17-year-old.
That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome.
I love that because the issue we have today is that, I have these little rock star rat bags walk into my restaurant and, mate, they want to go straight to the plating. Mate, straight to the plating. From pub to fine dining. And I go, no. Why don't we go and peel the onions? Mate, they're out the door as fast as I can look at them.
That's a fair point. I mean, I obviously I meet plenty of people with the next generation down who may be slightly younger than me. The truth is probably because when they were growing up, there was prizes for coming 8th in an 8th person race. When maybe I was growing up, first, second, third would get a ribbon, and everybody else was like, well, you fucking didn't win. You need to be better next time. And I think that's the reality, but also much more tough love. Like my first job was that.
Yeah.
If I said to somebody today that walked in as a 17-year-old kid to my business, just finished their HSC, and said, listen, your first job is that, and you don't argue with me, I don't want to hear about it. And he sat there and cleaned the window with me, to his credit. But it taught me a valuable lesson. I refer back to it in a lot of stuff that I talk about. It taught me that there's no job beyond anybody.
Correct.
I think the truth behind it is that it set me on the right course of work ethic and nothing's beneath me.
Appreciation.
But today, people expect that they don't have to do it. It's a different generation, but who's to blame? Is it the kid that is 17 today, or is it the way that that kid has been brought up,
Parents.
or society?
Parents.
I would
Parents are very
agree with
important.
parents.
I'm
Yeah.
27. Josh is 28. And my first job was scaffolding.
Yep.
My dad made me scaffold when I was at high school. Let alone, and when I went to uni, he said the same thing to me. Go out. So I went out and found a job in a financial planning firm.
Yep.
My first job was to open the door and get coffee and say, "Hello, sir. How are you? Lovely to meet you today," and give them water. That's my first job for about 6 months.
You think about the lessons you learn in that, though, right?
Correct.
It's a funny thing. I reflect back on that now. I'm 41 now, so not as young as you boys, but it sticks with me today, that first role. And I talk a lot about it in my business to young guys at start and girls. Predominant number of our team and people that come into our business who are there now and not there, most of them are young. And I say to them, what you do today, I've done. I've done that. No one gets to success. No one gets to any level of anything other than starting from the ground up and laying that foundation. And those lessons I learnt then serve me today.
So how long were you cleaning the windows for before you got to do something you enjoyed?
I think, my job back then was not just cleaning windows. That was just a Saturday morning job.
He was on the borderline of having a sponsorship from Windex.
I reckon I worked 7 days a week as a youngster for probably a few years before I really got anywhere.
Yeah.
And, I didn't understand what that meant for me other than the fact I needed money at that time.
So did you go to uni?
I didn't. So I got the offer.
Yep.
So we got through, I think the HSC back then finished maybe October, November. I can't quite remember. The results come out December, and then you get offers back into January, February, I think, off memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I got offered a placement in the course that I wanted. But by that stage, I didn't want to study again for 4 more years. Like most young guys, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But this path gave me the in that I wanted. And I haven't looked back.
I believe that's the better way to go about it. If you don't know what you want to do, you shouldn't go to uni, because I find that it looks like the easy way out. When I was at university, a lot of people didn't want to be there. And most people don't actually need university to do the job they want to do. If you went to do an economics degree, do you really need it to be a real estate agent?
No.
Not really.
No, I know lots of people that have done degrees that have finished and they're doing something totally opposite to what
Correct.
their degree was. But why are they doing the uni degree? Is it for them, or is it social pressure or
Social
family?
pressure.
Family, often family
Correct.
too. Yeah.
Well, couple of questions,
Yep.
and we'll move through these 3 hot questions straight away. Question number 1, how important was your father at that time pushing you out the door, going, hustle, go, work out the world, figure it out? How important was that for you? And do you appreciate that? Because I have I look back and, I guess with me, I have a division, a divorced mother, a very highly ambitious father, a stepfather who probably wasn't as ambitious.
Yeah.
So I was always this person caught in the middle of 2 different sides of the story. But how important was that one for you? The second question is, are parents scared these days to kick their kids out the door because of the use of online? And the third question, what do you think is more important, letting go or control? So we'll start with the first.
The first one is that was critical for me because I was a kid. I was 17, and really at school, you're not really living. I was working from a young age though, so the work ethic aspect was there. My parents sort of said, I think it was when you're around 15, if you want to achieve something, you've got to get out there and work. So I learnt that lesson early. It was critical. Like you, my parents hadn't separated by that stage, but they did not long after. So I reckon that there's different stages in my life that I've learnt different things by the fact of circumstance.
Yep.
That was one of them. The second question was?
Are parents scared to parent their children these days? Get them out the door,
100%.
Get them working, get them hustling,
Yeah.
learning communication, effective, clear communication.
It's really hard. I've got kids, right? 14 and 12. So I've just come back from a couple of weeks away with them. So you're
Yep.
spending very close quarters, and I'm separated from their mum. So
Yep.
I have them half. So I'm fortunate where I'm able to spend half of my time with them, and I have half of the time where I've got the freedom or ability to do other things. It's hard. Today's society is really different. Observing them, everyone says, get them off their phones, all that sort of stuff. But that's how they communicate today. It's not like it was when we were growing up. It was a bit different. Are they afraid to parent them? Yeah, I think so.
I just feel like we're missing a little bit of that core root, the foundations of what really this world's made of, which is consistency and earning
Discipline.
the right to work smart through hard work first. So I get these young cats who walk in my business going, I want to earn money and I want to work smart. And I look at them and go, I'm so sorry, but this is not the place for you, because at this place, we actually work hard to earn the right to work smart.
Well, the reality is when we recruit somebody young, I don't look for their education. I've never asked about your degree, your high school, any of that shit.
Personality.
It's their personality, their engagement, but their work ethic, their willingness to work.
Totally.
Now, my kids, as an example, through the fact I've had to do it, I auction on Sundays a lot, right? And they're with me every Sunday. So for them, they have to come to work.
Yep.
So they're learning from a young age work ethic. My daughter now is 14. She's now working a couple of afternoons a week in a cafe because she's realised that I want that that makeup product or that face product or that cream. If I'm going to get it, Dad could give it to me, but he's going to say, if you work, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Not many parents are doing it now because I think they feel like, there's this social pressure just to provide for kids. Teach them good values, right?
Well, I think, calculating your hours as a kid going, I can save up for that skateboard for this many hours.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
I was that kid.
Yeah, so
What
I was the
happened?
kid. It was like, if I work this many hours, I'm going to get that fucking thing that I really, really want.
See, I wasn't that kid at all.
You were given it.
Growing up, my parents both came from housing commission.
Yep.
So my dad grew a successful scaffolding business.
Yes.
And he would always give me, anything we wanted growing up. But it always made me understand that if you get things, you have to be the best. So everything I did in life, I had to make sure I was number one. If I was not number one, I would suffer the consequences.
Okay.
So it was a bit different. So I was given everything. However, it was that, no, you have to be not everything, but, as a kid, you want a toy or whatever, you get the toy,
Yep.
right? But it was always taught that if you don't study hard, if you don't work hard, if you're not number one, you get nothing.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
You're a
Well,
loser.
that obviously kept with you through this time now, and you're using as a...
Well, correct. As in my business,
a
if
leverage
we're not,
point.
If we're not number one in our categories, then it kills me.
When do you reckon most people find success? Because of what?
Their subjective opinion of their own lives. Like when
Yes.
people find success in going down to the beach every day and having a surf while still maintaining a passive income business, as they call it these days.
That would be
which
nice.
apparently they don't have to work. It passively comes in an account from
Bullshit.
somewhere, and they can go and have barrels down at the beach or something. I don't know. It's quite
It does-
interesting, that one.
I don't know anyone that makes money that way. Maybe later in life, but certainly not at the beginning.
Yeah.
I reckon most people become successful through some sort of hardship.
Correct.
Yeah.
Whether it's parents separating, whether it's financial, whether it's your girlfriend's just fucked off.
Correct.
All of the things that make you hit rock bottom before you go up.
Yeah.
So every time I reckon that I've seen people really successful, they've got something that's really driven them. And the truth is, those who are too comfort zone kills a lot of people's dreams. I was talking to Richard, my business partner, with one of our staff members the other day about this, saying natural ability is the biggest killer
Correct.
to success if that natural ability just rides the natural ability.
Yeah.
They've got natural ability, but then have something that is pushing them, like hits them between the eyes,
Yeah.
then they win.
Well, we would notice that overseas when I was working in 3 Michelin star. The 2 Michelin star boys are the ones hustling the most.
Correct.
The 3 Michelin star boys are the ones
Cruising.
going, we're going to cruise. We've got our stars consecutively for the last few years. Guys, let's cruise and do what we do. The 2-star boys are going, let's take these cats for a ride. Let's go.
Hard work beats
Mate.
talent when talent doesn't work.
Mate, the third question was
Correct.
letting go or control?
Letting go.
I got hit really hard on Instagram with this the other day.
Letting go is the absolute key
100%.
to being more successful. And I know this because I reckon for 4, 5, 6 of our first years of the business, we tried to be everything to everybody because you wanted to control the experience a customer had, or, they wanted to deal with you. And until we learnt to let go, we didn't grow. It's an old analogy, but letting go to grow is 100% the key.
Yeah.
Now, when I say let go, it doesn't mean you're not there. Like if I walked into your restaurant, I've been there heaps of times. I've never been there without you there. But I know when you're there, you don't have to serve me every time, but you're just there.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a presence.
But you're not cooking everything. Very rarely have I seen you cooking it. Fair?
I got a dodgy
this
steak
beautiful
last
wine,
week for him.
Did you?
This beautiful wine, you're not making it, right?
No, but I am part of that process.
But you're
Yes.
part of it.
Oh,
but you've
yes.
let go of some of the things you don't
Correct.
need to be involved in.
Which is effective delegation.
Correct.
But I also believe in control.
Have you ever cooked for me?
Have I ever cooked? Should we not do a private catering for you,
Yes.
Mr. Everingham?
I've
Yeah.
got this image of you just stamping on grapes now.
Stepping on grapes?
Imagine him in these. I know you probably can't see those
in the
shoes
clogs.
in the video.
Are they
the
clogs?
Mate, these are Birkenstocks. These are the best.
Birkenstocks.
These are great.
I'd rather be.
Have a look at these.
Can I-
What are those?
Hold on, I got the
What are
leather
those?
shoes, you got the
Here, see?
Birkenstocks.
Leather, your auctioneer versus chef.
Yeah,
And look
this
at
is it. Can I just say,
Mortgage
you're the
broker.
only person I know that gets away with it and actually looks cool.
Thank you.
You know what? You make fun of me for my Crocs. The Crocs are elite, by the way. They are the top tier of.
Yeah, but you
of-
wear your
of-
Crocs in my hatted restaurant like you've just had gardening.
Correct. I do.
Crocs are normally, I thought, worn by people that are in their 70s or 80s, and they
That's
just
what it looks like.
okay.
No, it's trendy now.
Is it?
It's
Yeah.
like
So
being,
I've missed it.
it's like being a real estate agent and wearing white sneakers.
Oh, I've never seen someone. I've never seen anyone. I've never seen anyone come and order a $200 steak wearing Crocs in my restaurant. So,
There you
mate,
go.
you're the first, and I will make sure that I will grab a plaque for you somewhere. But mate, springboarding and what you just said, it just triggered. I'm so triggered right now.
I'm wearing my Crocs next
Here we
time.
go.
No,
Here we
I'm
go.
triggered
He's
with-
mentioned the word real estate.
And Nikes and stuff, and mate, the Power Rangers of real estate. I'm a big believer in consistency, and the image you put out there is
Yep.
the image people are going to see. The way you talk to people, the way you look, the way you smell, the way you what you wear. If that's consistent, people will notice you for what you are.
Yeah, I think if your image is that, and you're true to yourself, and you do that day in, day out, good luck, right? You got to remember real estate in the past, let's say 5 years, excluding a bit of 22, has been pretty cruisy. Like the market's been
Bastards.
fucking hot. Let's
Correct.
be honest about it.
Well, similar
fucking
to
hate you
mortgages,
guys.
right?
Same.
Mortgages has been very similar.
So for me, I was always taught when I first came into real estate that sort of look wouldn't wash because I was young and people would judge me on that. Now,
Correct.
if you're getting the results and you can get away with that, I suppose get away with it. For me, I always felt like if someone was going to take me seriously, it was always going to be pretty much a suit, not a tie. I dropped that a long time ago. It was very much real estate agent copy and paste for years. Now, there is a white sneaker brigade. I know you've seen it
White
in
sneaker.
real estate
Well,
across
actually-
Sydney.
Well, you can either relate them to
The white shoes
the Wiggles or the Power Ranger squad.
Is the Power Rangers based on the coloured suits?
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, I picked up on
So
this.
Can you
white
bring-
Nikes.
Have we got that laptop connected to the screen?
Yeah, can we?
Can you
I
bring
don't
up
know.
a picture of the Power Rangers?
Power
Yeah,
Rangers?
so
Yeah.
The Power
So-
Rangers.
Did you ever watch that?
the Power
I
Rangers,
did.
the
Yeah,
Power
yeah.
Rangers have superheroes, and the Power Rangers have funky colors.
Yep.
It's a kids sort of thing.
Well,
and
they're not superheroes.
I've got some of these Power Rangers that work in my team.
They're not. They're not. They're not. Here we go.
Here we go.
Images. Yeah, Pete.
Click on that one.
There you go.
Click on that one.
Power
Leave
Rangers.
that on the screen.
They're the OG Power Rangers, by the way. They're the best Power Rangers.
Right.
So that's the original.
They're the original Power Rangers. Yes.
So what I can only relate this to restaurants and a customer because I deal with approximately about 1,500 faces a month.
Yep.
And there's a little thing in my restaurant where if you keep moving, my staff keep moving, the customers won't, I guess, notice you in a negative way. They like a moving person,
Yep.
okay? But they like a consistent person.
Yep.
Like person to run their lane, do their job, make sure that they're servicing the customer. It's when they stop servicing the customer and stand around and they stand out like a Power Ranger
Yeah.
that you have negative attention coming your way, because consistency is key.
Yeah.
The way you talk, the way you look, the way you dress, the way you smell, how articulate you are, and how good your service is at the end of the day.
Yep.
So when I see these Power Rangers of the industry, mate, they're driving around in a Mazda, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they're wearing a watch which costs more than the Mazda.
True.
There's nothing wrong with a car. Mazda's great. Mrs. got one.
No what?
So does mine.
You know, they're a great car. So no hate there, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing I do have a problem with is that you're trying to portray an image that you are a $1 million agent when you're a $300,000 agent while wearing a wiggle suit and you're wearing, there we go, Power Rangers.
Power Rangers. We can
actually
hear
used
it.
to like the Power Rangers when I was a kid. So there we go. Oh god!
We've got all the production.
You know what I'm talking
That's our
about.
producer.
Here.
That's our
like-
producer Brendo. There.
Yeah, look, legend.
Yeah, he's laughing. Yeah.
So my issue here is that you've got a Rolex which is worth more than the car. They don't own their own They don't own their own property.
This is the key.
This is interesting. Their Nikes are white. Their suits are watermelon, strawberry, yellow. They are the Power Rangers of the
Green.
industry.
Yeah.
Blue.
But
then-
the issue that lays behind this is that there's no consistency of what they're doing. All of their priorities are completely in the wrong spot.
Yeah. I think when the market's been strong, these agents have been able to get away with worrying about that. Now, you've got to work. We've got to grind. And it's funny, for us as agents, I actually love this market because your skills actually shine through.
Love that.
Right?
Yeah.
So the past few years, our business has grown significantly. We can't complain. It's been good for us. But what's happened is a lot of agents have come into this industry and thought, I could just make quick money and easy money. I ask you this, right? Most of those people you talk about probably don't own any property. They're paying massive rent. They're paying huge car leases. Now, I love cars, so
We both do.
you can't crack. We drive the same brand of car.
Yep.
And I love cars, but I never got those great cars until I was well established in life. I'd owned property.
Yep.
Pretty much owned business, all that sort of stuff. I think the problem is social media, right, has made it so that everybody wants to keep up with the next person, and the comparison is thieving them of being themselves because they're comparing to the other person they think they have to be.
Yep.
Now, if you are naturally the bright suits, white sneakers, and that's you, be that. Okay?
Yes.
But if
But
you're
be very
doing-
good.
Yeah, but be
Yeah.
good, back it up.
Yeah.
I don't care what someone wears. Like for me, if I'm wearing a suit today, I'm wearing a suit, right? Not every day do I wear a suit. Some days I'll wear sneakers, but never with a suit.
What about
Yeah.
Crocs?
It'll be
the
with a
suit?
pair. Never wear Crocs in my life because
I
I think
will.
you're fucking bit.
Next time I'm
in
wearing
your
Crocs.
head, you're a bit fucked.
Berkeys.
Yeah,
You're a bit fucked. You're a little bit fucked.
Mate, I'm wearing Crocs
Yeah.
next episode.
yeah. If you
Fuck
wear
this.
Crocs the next episode, I'm like tuning out.
I will. 100% going
He'll
to.
go one seat to the left or to the
yeah,
right.
I'm just like,
I'm
no,
watching.
we're done.
No.
But you've got to back it up, right?
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, people focus too much of their attention on things that aren't going to make them money or take them to success.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm not too fussed about the Power Ranger suits or them having expensive cars without having a house if that's their motivation and goal in life.
Sure.
I don't think there's an exact road to go down. My issue becomes when they think that they're more special than they are because this month they made a little bit of money. And then they put other people down around them by having these expensive things to make them feel bad about themselves.
That's their own insecurity.
Correct. Exactly.
That's keeping up with the Joneses.
Correct.
That's me.
When you're pushing a fake belief or fake image onto someone to get them to feel bad about themselves and make yourself feel good, that's absolute fucking bullshit. I hate that. If you like those things and you know you're renting or you're doing X, Y, Z with that money,
Fine.
that's cool. I don't really care. But it's the moment where you start to judge others.
I think the problem is people are trying to fit in with other people. The one thing you learn is to surround yourself with quality people as you get older, right? Like that's the biggest lesson for me. Surround yourself with people who are going to lift you to another level, higher. If you can get in front of people who are further down the road than you, don't feel intimidated by that because they're going to have more. They're at chapter 20, you're at chapter 4. That's okay too, right? But the only way to get better is to get yourself around people who are further than you. There's a lot of people in this world, unfortunately, I think, who will only surround themselves with people who are further behind than them because it makes them feel better. But you never really realise your potential.
Most people do
mate,
that.
Most people.
Majority of my mates are actually 20 to 30 years old more than I am. They're
Why
actually,
is that, you think?
I think I was brought up in business at a very young age, and I think I really relate to people who have a very mature head. And I think I just get along with those type of people. I love to learn about their story. I love the business chat. I love bouncing ideas.
The story's a good one.
Stories are great.
Because the more you talk to people, right, you realise everyone's come from somewhere. Now, some people are honest about it.
Yeah.
And other people pretend that they started when they were 27 and successful.
And that they were completely in the slums.
You are fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Another great.
I can agree with that one.
yeah.
There are some funny stories out there, but yeah, mate. Majority of my friends are far older than I am. They are CEOs. They are business owners of national companies, and they are genuine friends.
Yep. They're
not fake friends. We don't need to pretend when we're out. We don't need to see who has the bigger package. It's literally just a genuine friendship. They appreciate a young person like I am, who's a hustler, an opportunist, someone who has entrepreneurial mindset. I'm not going to sit here as a young person and go, I'm an entrepreneur, because that does my head in.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. I just say I have an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I believe in multiple things happening. I believe in multiple concepts. I believe in
What is an entrepreneur?
Well, for me, I always
It
looked
sounds,
at
like, it sounds like a hero.
Well, for me, I always looked at entrepreneur as someone who can create multiple income streams within sort of their circle and make it work.
Yeah, I think.
And
That's
I always say 7 income streams. I would classify the person as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair description. But who knows what that even means? Are you a business person or are you an entrepreneur?
Everything's made up. Nothing's
Yeah.
real anyway.
Who cares? Whatever.
Does it matter?
No. It
Do
really
what makes you
doesn't.
happy, right?
Mate, paddle your own canoe.
And it doesn't mean that you don't surround yourself with people who are further. Paddle your own canoe.
Paddle your own canoe.
Are you much of a canoeist? I mean, you're about to go to a very, very nice resort.
Yep.
Will you be doing any canoeing?
I will do as much as I can. Whatever's available. I don't
Eating
know.
or canoeing?
Yeah, well, who knows, man? I don't know.
Mate,
Yeah, I'm meant to be taking a couple of days off, but who knows? It just doesn't happen in my world. But anyway, welcome to hospitality.
Mate,
I was gonna say
can
hospitality.
we bring it back to, I guess, you starting
Yeah.
in the real estate industry?
Yeah.
So we were washing windows. You were sponsored by Windex.
Had a stories,
And then
wax
what- and
on,
then-
wax off.
You know, and then you did the normal
It was
duties.
newspaper too, so he didn't have to buy a cloth. Italian background.
Even
I
better.
come from an Italian family, so
Yeah.
I get it.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I had a nonno who would do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you start as an associate. And what,
Yeah,
and what does that look like?
My job back then was basically an associate for the business.
Yep.
So I would run around for property management, for sales teams, for picking up photos from the photo lab, all that sort of stuff that doesn't exist anymore. But basically the gopher, getting out there and doing things that nobody else wanted to do. So it was basically that. And as it went further, month by month, obviously I started to do more and more on the sales side of it. I realized, I think, that I enjoyed that. The business and the team there probably realized that that was my ability down that road.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started off as that. And then back then it was no associate role.
Right,
That
okay.
didn't exist. So I was kind of just working for the business. And then I started selling myself, literally. I'm thrown in the deep end.
Sold himself.
I
Wow.
sold myself. Things real estate agents will do, right? A lot.
Ad libs.
I'm not sure what.
Poor guy.
But I also think that, you just did what you had to do. I had braces. I was kind of not dressed in a good suit. I had no Power Ranger outfit.
So when you became
Useless.
when you became a real estate agent or a listing agent, how old were you then?
that was having to do it.
When did you start as a real estate agent, listing
18,
agent?
19.
So at 19 years old, to say listing agent.
Yeah.
How much money did you make in your first year as a listing agent?
I don't even remember.
Ballpark.
70,000.
Yeah, okay. That's great.
It's good.
That's pretty good
Which
for
is
first year
okay.
as a listing agent.
Back then,
But I was working.
Was it comms only or salary?
No.
Yeah, awesome.
dinosaur.
How old? Hold on. Young? We've established I fall into
Wait,
the
I
category.
think we missed the
No,
memo of this.
Not comms only. It was a wage-based thing.
Okay, that's yeah.
With commissions. But you know what? I also worked in a team of really aggressive guys, generally guys. There's one woman.
Yep.
Really aggressive guys. And I had to work.
Yeah.
That's just how it worked there. Great to learn.
Yeah.
Wouldn't wash in today's world. People would be upset that there was,
Work.
it was not part of the PC brigade. It was work. Yeah.
I wasn't part of the Instagram fashion.
No.
Yeah,
It was-
what would you say I could say the group of stylists walking around the
No.
Instagram real estate gangs.
So if we
Walking
go
around areas and everyone's flicking their hair back. Look at us. We look really good,
I
but
wish
we're
I-
not going to show off our skills because
Can
they're
I
not
just say,
important.
I wish I had the hair to flick back. But
It's a shame.
No, not
It is
at
a
all.
shame.
I know. It's sad.
if
but
you,
we
so
won't
if-
we won't show our skills off. We're just going to look really good on Instagram.
Josh really hates real estate agents, obviously.
No, I love
No,
them.
no, Josh is always good to me, but maybe because I spend money in his
Well,
restaurant.
but
yeah,
how
it's
many
fine.
friends
Well-
of real estate agents I have? I got heaps.
That's true.
Like a lot of real estate agent friends.
If we go back
That
to
is
what
true.
you said,
Yeah.
the PC brigade.
Yeah.
So you're young, you start in real estate, right? And you're all trying to find listings.
Yeah.
Is it like a boiler room concept? Everyone's on the phone all
Yeah.
day. Just how many hours a day? 12 hours a day, 16 hours a day?
I don't remember exact hours I worked back
Yeah.
then, only to say that it was always late nights, all the time. Like
Yeah.
my team at that time, and including my team today and now. Like for me, I work 7 days a week pretty much. Some Sundays I'm not auctioning, therefore I'm not working long hours. But real estate it's 24/7. Anyone who wants to be successful when you're young, particularly if you want to go back to the young and not dumb approach, you have to out hustle the guys that have got 20 years on you.
Correct.
Totally.
Right? And you've got to hope that the guy that's got 20 years on you doesn't want to hustle. But I hustle to this day. You know why? I love it.
Yeah, correct.
Actually
But
enjoy it.
you're a very rare case, right? Why I've been able to grow my business so fast in the mortgage broking space is as they get older, they get lazier. They stop
I
caring
think what
about their
happens
clients.
is they think that the experience is the only thing that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hustle will beat the talent if the talent doesn't want to hustle.
Correct.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah,
100%.
totally.
So from my point of view, I worked hard, and ultimately, what back then led to my next career move. So I was there for 6 years.
Yep.
There was a guy I worked with in the company, a guy by the name of Nick, still a friend of mine now. And then he opened an office, and he said, "You know what? Come and work with me." And that was kind of my next career kind of move before Richard Matthews.
So then you became an agent at this other office?
Yeah.
And then what pushed you from working at that agency to create your own agency?
Probably, the desire that a lot of people go through to run their own business, not realizing what running your own business actually entails.
Correct.
I'm thinking,
That is such a hard question and such a mixed question.
Well, it's a naive answer back then.
Correct.
So I was
Yes.
28.
Yeah.
And the answer back then was that I'm going to make more money. It's not.
Yeah.
If you have the desire to run your own business, I accept that.
Yeah.
But don't think because you're just going to make more money. You might not. But what you inevitably end up doing, like we do, is we make money, but we invest it back into people and the business.
Correct.
It's a hard one to answer because everyone thinks you're going to say that because you're the business owner. No, it's the truth.
Correct.
But the satisfaction from my role today is more growing people. So my role's changed from being as much selling, I still sell, but to growing our team, mentoring, helping, assisting, coaching.
Which is equally as important,
It's important today, but it's a hard shift to make away from the thing you love.
which is letting go.
Right. And I find it hard.
Well, letting
That's
go
why
is
how I
always
end-
hard. And letting go and control is like this pendulum balance. you
You're
know?
a great chef, right?
Oh, I think so.
How do you let someone cook for your customers?
Intense mentoring and training and then slowly letting go over time.
Hard. You're a
Very
great
hard.
mortgage broker. How do you let somebody come into your business and sit down with a client that you could write that loan for? 100% you could write the loan for, but knowing that they're going to service them the way you do.
Same question. Same answer as Josh.
Yeah,
You have
it's
to
hard,
mentor them. It's extremely hard.
but it's the only way to grow.
No, correct.
And then you also have the mindset that, well, this is not my business, so why should I be putting in the same amount that my boss is?
I learned that nobody's ever going to put in the same amount.
No.
Correct.
Although in real estate they're commission based, the salespeople may do to a point, but they don't care as much. They don't have to.
No.
Otherwise, they may be in my shoes.
And you know what I would say? Why should they?
Fair.
If I look back at my first job before mortgages as financial advice,
Yep.
I cared so much. Like I pretended like the business was mine.
Yep.
Right? I earned not great money for the time I was there.
Yep.
Right? I look back at it now and I go, I worked my ass off to earn that money, but the lessons it taught me were extremely positive. I was able to carry it into my own business. But why should, the way I look at it, why should they work as hard as you? They probably shouldn't, to tell you the truth. If I was to go and work for someone right now, if I went to go get a job, honestly, if they'll pay me a salary, I'll probably just sit there and do the bare minimum.
But you know, the reason you're a business owner today would be more around the fact that you worked that hard for somebody.
100%, I agree.
Your
with that.
mentality was that anyway.
Yeah, well, I guess the point I'm getting to is that we can't expect them to ever to work as hard.
No.
People in the business, you can't ever expect them to work as hard as
But
you.
it's up to us as respective business owners to
Leaders.
lead, motivate, and manage in
Correct.
the best way possible.
Correct.
And to explain that the greatest investment in life is you.
Correct.
Whether it's with me, whether it's the next person, whether it's something at home, whether it's a rat bag relationship you're in, whatever it is, the greatest investment is you. And
Correct.
we don't put ourselves at the top of the tree investment. We'd rather go and get pissed down to the pub with the boys and not put it in ourselves. And that's been my mindset, mate. I spent 3 months in a 3 Michelin star restaurant before they even gave me a paycheck.
Yeah, but those 3 months you would have been shit kicking.
Shit kicking. Mate, talk about clean cool room walls. Clean them again.
Yeah. But
And I'm going, why? And they're like, just because. And I'm sitting there going, well, it is 1 a.m, but all right, we'll clean the cool room walls again. No problem. Yes, chef.
and were you a good...
Oui, chef. Merci, chef. Oui.
Were you a good... your French is good. Were you a good cool room wall cleaner?
Mate, those walls, mate, I was scrubbing the paint off them. So not only I was scrubbing those walls, but they probably had to get repainted at one point.
But not a lot of people want to do the hard yards, right?
I love the hard yards.
But that's what gets you success.
You know,
You could be talented, but you've got to work at it. It's hard work.
the gym for me in the morning, it sets my day.
Yep.
And if I don't work hard at the gym, I won't work hard through the day.
Well, it's a mindset.
Absolutely.
So you talked to me a little bit previously about mindset, right? Everything's that. Everything's mindset.
Because my mindset's about creating the opportunity.
Yeah.
The opportunity is always there, everybody. There is the opportunity, but sometimes you need to create it.
But-
There's an opportunity somewhere.
Most people want that opportunity to fall on their lap. It never
That's
does.
the issue.
You get
Parents.
lucky when you work for it.
The
I
harder,
don't have kids' parents, but I tell you what, the stock coming through my joint at the moment, it's rough.
The harder
rough.
I work, the luckier I get.
It's true.
And I've got a little story. I had a lad come and have an interview, and he was going to quit another job. He wants to be a barman, all the rest of it. And I said, mate, you're talking my language. I love this. I gave him the whole hustle spiel. You know, let's be great. You know, let's do it. I want you to be the best possible barman ever.
Mm-hmm.
You're 19. Listen to orders and follow the process.
Yep.
Listen, follow the process. We will lead you, we will motivate you, and then we will manage you after the point where you're motivating yourself
Yep.
and you're led well. So we had to scale his job back, unfortunately, to pouring water in the restaurant. That's
Why?
how bad it was.
He was all
Incompetent of taking on new roles and not listening.
talk. Right.
If I'm saying go grab a fork, he's grabbing a spoon. Like, no joke. Like, I'm being
So
very
he's good
serious.
at selling his skills.
Oh, mate,
didn't
he
follow
did a
through.
great job with the interview. I was like, this guy's going to be red hot. So this person got so angry about pouring water, and this is a bit of a funny one, so angry that he went out of spite to pour a customer's water. Like literally, this is like last week, or maybe the week before. Went out of spite, came up to the manager and I and went, look, I just poured the best water ever. Did you just see that? Did you see the way I poured that water? I nailed it. Customer puts their hand up and goes, we didn't order sparkling.
And did you
I'm not even fucking kidding, mate.
And did you remind
I almost
him?
died.
Did you remind him?
Oh, which part?
Did you sack him?
Gone. Chow chow.
Yeah.
So basically, the Donald Trump, you're fired.
Gone.
Or fired. Yeah.
There's no
that's
place
it.
for you here.
Really?
If you're going to come and rub in the
Basic
the
tasks.
basic tasks that I want you to nail, and I'm not saying it because I'm trying to degrade you. I'm saying because I'm trying to get you to appreciate it. That going to a customer and pouring water and asking them how are they, is everything okay? Could I get you another drink?
There we go. Brendo just put up something. TikToker quits McDonald's job mid-shift after being asked to wash dishes. You know what? That's fair enough.
Mate, I wash dishes
If I was
every
a-
fucking day.
Yeah, you're the sucker.
Fuck.
Hey.
Don't you have like dishwashers?
Yeah, but I help them.
No.
Like the
ones
actual
that are
machines. Yeah.
Oh, actually, you put them in the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they need to go from A to B.
Right.
Yeah, aren't they quick?
A
If you
machine
just
doesn't have
spent
a
the money,
hand in it to
you
scrub.
get like a 4-minute cycle, couldn't you?
2.
Oh, hey, don't bring Andrew Tate into
2-minute
this,
cycle.
mate. What's Andrew Tate doing up there? What did he say? Scroll up.
Andrew Tate. Jesus, here we
What
go.
did he say?
Oh, arrested? I don't know.
Nah, I'm not even going to say. I'm not going to talk about that. No, yeah.
Jesus.
Let's move on.
All right,
Let's move on.
here we
Let's
go.
not get
Okay,
flagged.
Here we go.
So back to when you...
Yeah.
So you start the real estate practice, right?
Yeah.
You start the real estate practice. Just you and who was your business partner again? Was it Richard?
Richard. Yeah.
Richard. So you
Just
and-
2 of us.
2 of you.
Yep.
So you start day one. You walk in.
Great guy too, by the way. Great
Yep.
guy.
Did you have an office?
We did.
Awesome. So you walk in the office first day, just you two. You sit down, you look at each other. What do you do?
I remember the first day that we walked in there, we were still renovating the office,
Yeah.
which is next door to where we are today. So we moved from there. It was too small, but next door came available. We walked in, we were sitting on fold-out chairs, yeah, with a milk crate
Yeah.
as this makeshift table.
Love
Yep.
it. Love it.
Shit you not.
Yep.
Yellow chairs and a milk crate. I still remember it.
Yep.
We had nothing. There was
Yep.
the 2 of us. We were doing reception, property management, sales, showing properties, looking for new clients, all of it.
Yep.
So basically doing everything from scratch.
Yep.
What did it look like? 2 guys who weren't prepared to fail, working hard.
Correct.
Simple as that. And that was the catalyst for our success.
Did you find that having some experience in the industry, I guess some connections, jump started the business as well?
100%. You couldn't open a real estate business unless you had some level of previous experience. You would fail.
Yep.
You can't rely on other people for certain things. What we probably should have done earlier in our business is employ the right people in the key positions sooner.
Yeah.
But what comes first? The money, the person. Like, it's very
That's
hard.
a tough thing, right?
But what's right? And this is the thing that myself and
We couldn't afford it.
and my manager.
So right, we didn't have a
Correct.
choice.
Yeah, but even for myself
Correct.
right now, I think I'm employing the right person. But within 4 weeks, they're already asking for their first pay rise.
You know what is right for us, and the one thing we've figured out, having the right people firstly is critical. We call it Richard Matthews DNA. Now, they're obviously not related to Richard and I, but they have the same mentality. It's this feeling that they're part of wanting to grow with us rather than just be there, us for pay rises, all that sort of stuff. The money will come. We say to our guys all the time, you work hard, the money will come. But the Richard Matthews DNA is what we describe it as. They're part of our team. And lots of people have been there for a long time.
Yeah, awesome.
And I think I actually had this chat today with my chefs because I am taking a couple of days off, believe it or not. Surprise, surprise. And I basically said to them, very, very similar to you. I said, we can be seen as an elite team,
Yep.
or we can be seen as a lazy team.
Yeah.
And I told them, I looked at all of them in the eyes of the kitchen today, and I said, the elite team's much sweeter.
It's a mindset thing, right? We go back to it. Everyone can be whatever they want to be. People who tend to succeed in our business are people who share the same values as us.
Yep.
Like, we always think long term. We don't think we're going to make quick money for a year and then doesn't matter the consequence. We're always worried about how we can succeed 10 years down the track.
Yeah.
And that's important from our business perspective.
It definitely is. Long term is always the best way to run a business because it's like anything in short term. If you look at financial markets short term, they go up and they go down.
Yeah.
Things go out of control. You can't predict the short term. Over the long term though. A bit of technical difficulty here.
Never.
Over the long term, you will have steady growth if you implement the right steps, like you said.
Correct.
If we bring it back once again to you starting the firm, obviously when you start, you're not getting paid.
No.
So there's a period of time.
And we owed money.
And you
like
owed
to
money.
start it.
So how long did it take before you actually made your first dollar?
It's we made money fairly quickly because
Yep.
we worked hard. We had a reputation. We've been in the business for a long time.
So a couple months?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lag effect. Of
Yeah,
course,
correct.
you sell, you settle, and all that sort of stuff. When we actually started to make money, years down the track.
Yeah.
Everything we had, we put back into the business. Staff, people that we felt were right for it, promoting ourselves. And to this day, we invest majority of our money back into the business. Like we've gone from 2 guys sitting in a small office to having 3 offices and 50 people who none of them have come with any real experience, particularly in the sales front. Some of our property managers have, but our sales people have all been just inexperienced agents that we felt we could take to the next level.
Yep.
And that's where our success has been. Taking people that we could mold and teach and grow. It's good and bad though. We can risk doing that and they leave. Which happens.
Correct.
But then you get the right quality of people who do stay. They're trained the right way. They're ethical. They have good practices and they're part of our culture, our team.
Correct. And I find if you have a employer or a boss who's too afraid to train you because you're going to become too good and leave, that is a red flag straight away. So
most bosses are because they're
Correct.
afraid of that. But you know, we thought about this and talked about it many a time young in our business. What's the alternative? You have someone there that you don't train,
Correct.
who's shit and leave anyway.
100%.
Like they're fucking rubbish anyway. Or they come and go. Like I've had, performers in my business leave in the past 12 months and go on and do something that they feel is right. Whether that succeeds for them or not is up to them. We can only do what we can do. And you know what? They were good for our business at that time.
Correct.
They learn a lot. They contributed to the business. It was both ways.
Yep.
I don't begrudge that, but a lot of people leave for... Ego's the killer often in our business. In real estate, if you want to know the one thing that people hate in our business,
Power Rangers.
I don't know, Power Rangers, right? The ego, the
Right.
egotistical way that agents promote themselves. And we're all guilty of it to a degree, but there's a way that you can do it where people still respect you.
I
Well,
think
there's still that Australian stigma that car salesmen and real estate agents are the worst of the worst.
I would say lawyers might be up there.
Oh, definitely. 100%.
And
yeah.
high-end restaurant.
mortgage brokers don't get a better
Very
stick
high.
because
Lucky I'm not high-end.
You did a few years ago. The Royal Commission was basically probing up your asshole.
yeah, correct. And they
How did that go for
and
you?
they found nothing.
I know.
Yeah, correct.
It was a lot of smoke.
The issue with mortgage broking is a low qualification standard to become one.
It's changed though, hasn't it?
No, it has not.
Changing.
No, there's no signs.
Financial planners, I think, has.
Financial planners was absolutely probed.
Yep.
There was a
Okay.
big probing on financial advisors.
Massive probing.
Mortgage brokers.
There's nothing like a probing.
You can do a quick course online, and you're a mortgage broker.
Really?
Oh, it's
Real estate used to be like that. It's changing now.
Correct, yeah.
And a lot of people were screaming about it. It's like, no. It's
positive.
If you want people to actually get into it for the right reasons, you need to make the bar a little bit higher to enter it.
correct.
It's a reality.
Correct.
Well,
You do.
sorry, go ahead.
If you have no qualification, if you do a course, a diploma, let's say a diploma
Yeah.
in mortgage broking, takes you. Let's say they give you 2 years. It takes you really 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And you're a mortgage broker.
Pretty low standard.
I disagree with it 100%. I think there needs to be higher levels. I've got a couple of university degrees, experience in finance. I think that's a level where you should be giving people advice.
Yeah.
Not just, I'm an Uber driver today. Now tomorrow he's a mortgage. It gives us a bad name. I really hate it because coming to the ego part of people, right? I really care about my clients. I really want them to succeed. And that's why I started doing this for.
Long term.
And people see
clients
money
too.
sometimes and they think, oh, I can make a lot of money for do something like the agents.
Yep.
And then sometimes with money links ego. And that's when they get too big for their boots.
The problem in real estate, maybe, I don't know mortgage broking, how it succeeds, but with agents in the past 5 years, this is how it rolled, right? If you were half decent and you got the owner to sign an agreement, you then advertise the property on realestate.com. The buyers would trip through the front door, want to sign a contract and buy the property. It's not very skillful.
Correct.
To do it on a volume basis, different story, but you could make money. Now, the agents that are going to succeed as what do they say? The tide washes out and you can see who's been left naked swimming. And there's lots of them.
Yeah.
There's fucking lots of them. You know why? There's so many of them that have been left out there naked is because You now have to work the hours, know how to talk to people, and actually have the ability to do the job. Properties just doesn't sell itself. And you've got to manage an owner. You've got to basically become a counsellor.
Well, this comes to my next question. Is there actually a need for real estate agents? If I
question.
myself can just go realestate.com, put my house up, someone calls me and say, yeah, I'll buy it for that price. Do I need an agent? What's the benefit to actually having an agent?
Do you need an agent to sell it? No, you can do it yourself.
Yep.
Do you need an agent to get premium money? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an agent,
Yep.
right? I wouldn't sell my own property.
Yep.
2 reasons. One, you're too attached.
Yeah,
Secondly,
emotional
you
connection,
can
yeah.
never, ever negotiate directly with a buyer like an intermediary can, right? So my job as an agent is not just to sell it though, it's to go in the property and look at it and say, all right, we've got this room here. You need to present it better. So it's not just selling the property. How do we present it?
Right.
How do we market it? And then the culmination of it, good agents, go and auction it. You can't just go and auction a property. There's a skill involved. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. It's not just opening that front door. It was to a point for the past number of
There's
years.
plenty of regulations now all around this.
There's a lot.
Yeah, heaps.
There's a lot. But there's also a skill set to get... let's say your property's worth $1 million and I can get you $1.2 million based on negotiation and network of buyers and all that sort of stuff, and I cost you 20 grand to get that. Pretty good investment.
Oh, mate, I totally agree. I think if you want premium results and you want things to happen, you go to professional people. You want
Always.
a chiseled body, you go to a good personal trainer.
What is the skill set behind an auctioneer? Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
He's just
Well, yeah.
for the listeners, Matthew's just flexing his abs a little bit.
What-
Matthew's sucking them in.
Yeah, sucking them
What-
in.
what
That
is
shirt
the-
looks a bit.
I haven't seen them since I was 11.
What is the skill set for an auctioneer? Because you mentioned there's skills there. From the outside, for example, even me, I look at it, it's just some guy yelling at everyone. So
Yelling at everyone.
just yelling at everyone. Do you want to buy it? Yes. No. Do you want to buy it? Okay. Yeah. Next price.
You know the skill
I
set.
hear a lot of numbers in there, though.
There's a lot of numbers.
A lot of numbers.
It's hard because there's a number of things. Let's say you get up there to perform or make a speech and you write the speech, you just got to execute it, right? When you get up there to auction, for me, I didn't auction until later in my career, the last sort of 5-6 years. It's the tempo, it's the controlling of bids, when to take a certain bid. There's a lot of stuff. If I got you to get up there and auction right now, you could yell, but what about to the 10 people that won't bid? What are you going to say? How are you going to describe the property while you're saying it at pace? How are you going to call bids? How are you going to remember them? It's hard. And then your job ultimately is not just all that. That's an actor can do that. How do I extract the most money out of that bidder? What point do I threaten? What point do I back off? What point do I engage with my agents?
And call it, too. What point do you call it?
That's a big one. Now, again, it comes back to the agent part of it. The auctioneer is the same. A lot of auctioneers have in the past few years been made to look good. Let's pretend you've got 20 bidders there. If you know how to call the bids, chances are you're probably going to be able to do it okay, right? But the market is not like that today. Maybe if I do 15 auctions in a weekend, maybe 1 or 2 of them have got that crazy bidding. The rest I have to work for and really stretch them out of people. So it's an interesting gig. It's actually really quite hard because you can't plan for it. Anything can happen up there at any time. I don't know who's going to bid, when they're going to bid, how much they're going to bid, and then I've got to be hard enough on them to get the right bid. So let's say the bidding starts at $1 million. What does everyone want to do then? Give me $1,000.
Yeah.
You've got to be firm enough to have a strategy in your mind without thinking about it. You don't have time to think. It's instant.
I agree with you. I think having a real estate agent is really important.
I hope so.
I do.
I was about to throw the keys.
I really do. I really do.
and
Well, but
leave.
these are the
Zoom
questions
off.
What is
people.
it? The unplug the microphone.
These are the
go?
questions people think and want to like and really want to know. People,
have the question a
Clients
lot.
say it to me all the time.
What's the point?
What's the point?
You don't need the agent to sell it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, correct.
Like if I got a property tomorrow and you want to buy it and you make the offer, I don't need the agent to facilitate that transaction.
Correct.
It's the same in your business. Why do you need a broker?
You don't.
No, but I always use a broker. You know why? Because I don't have the time, the effort, the energy to go out there, or the skill set
Correct.
to look at all the different options
Correct.
easily.
Nor the years of relationship building, too.
Well, you've also got to
Yeah.
get the deal across the line with the bank.
Well, yeah, and like you said, anyone can walk into one particular bank and get a home loan.
Yeah.
My argument is this: if you're looking for a BMW, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you need a BMW. Why would you walk into a Mercedes? If
You
you
wouldn't.
need something that NAB has, but you walk into CBA, they're going to give you a car. but it's not going to be the car you need. So that's where it comes down to.
People, again, I think this comes for real estate. It comes down to having an easy market.
Correct.
When things are easy, it's like, everyone wants to buy it.
Correct.
That part was true to a point, but a really good agent at the end, though, would get you more money.
Correct.
Because their ability to squeeze that extra. If someone walks into that property and they hate it, there's nothing I can do. I can try and sell it to them, but they hate it. They're not going to buy it. Somebody walks in the property, is on the fence, I can sway them. And somebody who walks in that property who loves that property, I've got the ability as an agent to demonstrate why they should pay more and create the atmosphere or an environment for them to pay more.
Correct.
Well, it's very much like a restaurant. Like I see my restaurant as actually an auction floor. Think
I've
about
auctioned
it.
in your
An
restaurant.
auction floor. Every single table, I don't know who they are, where they've come from, or what they're going to spend.
And
but
what their
it's
tastes are.
absolutely my responsibility and duty
Yeah.
to know what path are they going to walk down.
I obviously always spend too much.
Well, don't go back and check the bills. So, mate, for me and my staff, and this is part of my training every week and part of my talks with them on a Saturday night when it's busy, I say to everybody here is coming here for one purpose, to go out for dinner.
Yeah.
Okay? But it's up to us to figure out how good that dinner is going to be.
You know
Is it going to be extremely good?
Yeah.
Are we going Sir Winston Churchill champagne?
Yep.
Or are we going Prosecco?
What-
We need to figure that out.
Let me ask you this. What do you reckon makes it good?
Makes dining good,
Yeah.
as in for a customer or for me looking down on
Customer.
what makes it good?
Yep.
Absolutely, service and product.
Uh-huh. Service has got to be on point because the food can be awesome,
Correct.
but if the service is shit,
But I
Or
say
vice
service first because it's the first thing you get when you walk in the doors.
Correct.
well,
You
that
get
sets,
served.
That sets the tone.
Good evening, madam and sir. Welcome.
I've
We are
never
so
been called
we
sir.
are so pleased to have you here.
They say-
You could be anywhere else, but you decided to book with us. Please follow us to your table.
Everyone says, please leave. You got Crocs on.
I've never been called sir at Qua, for the record.
No, I haven't.
Oh, I don't need to-
I've been
Hey,
called
here comes
plenty
the
of
door.
other
I'm
things.
like, you know the fucking table. Sit down.
Pretty much.
You know where to go, mate. Just down by the wine
Just
cellar.
quick,
Yeah.
this is a good segment because sales training for people in those roles are extremely important.
Don't you reckon sales is in every job to a point?
Sales is fucking
100%.
life.
Sales
The
is
sales is
life.
everything.
And look, sales. When people hear the word sales, it sounds dirty, right? But all sales is service. It's connecting with someone to understand how I can help them or what they need, not what I think they need. By listening to them and helping them achieve what they're trying to achieve.
The best
It's a beautiful
salespeople
thing.
build relationships
Correct.
as quickly as possible through service.
Correct.
That's it.
But it's up to us to figure out how far we can put our sales techniques there. And I do a little thing when I'm with my staff. I say, guys, what is the common denominator with every single person tonight? No one can answer it. Crickets. Cricket. What's the common denominator, guys? Tell me the answer. They can't tell me. They all here to eat. I said, no, they've all got a fucking wallet.
Yeah.
They've all got a wallet.
Yeah.
Every single person has a wallet. It is up to us to make them feel so good that when they do pull their wallet out, they pull it out with absolute ease.
They're happy.
Happy. Whatever the
you're-
bill says, whether there's a real estate agent levy on it or not, they're still going to pay the bill because we massaged it. We learnt early on when we said hello to the customer, we know exactly what they're here for. They're here for cocktails, they're here for entrees, mains and dessert.
And a
they're
great
here-
wine.
And they're here for a great wine,
Yeah.
steel wines. Oh,
Can I tell you something that Josh does well, and he's a master at it? He sells not the food, because the food is I think it kind of says it itself in the menu, but he'll sell you the bottle of wine. So that CL wine, right? I went down to the vineyard, the most picturesque valley that you could imagine, where it's grown, the soil, the content, the acidity. I met the winemaker, the extent they go to handpick those grapes. And the vine that this particular one comes off has been planted in 1932. Like, it's an incredible story.
Correct.
And it starts to bring you into why you're spending more on that wine. Or you can say, we've got this one, and this one. And they're going to pick what on what.
well, I actually
Price.
understand both things you're saying, but I actually tie both of them together.
That's what I'm saying. You do it well.
Yeah. So what I do is I actually do a 3-step process with my customer to try and figure out who they are, what they are, and where they want to go. So they'll come to me, and by the way, I'm not your ordinary chef. You guys know that, okay? I make everything my business. When I went to Michelin Star.
Well, you build relationship with your clients. You'll come out and chat to them.
Mate, they text me for bookings.
That's how this podcast started.
Mate, they text me for bookings. When I went over and worked overseas, Michelin
I've
Star,
never called up. I always send you a message through Instagram.
Absolutely. You never ring the restaurant.
No.
You know, so stubborn.
But it's relationship.
No joking. So when I overseas, I made it my business to work with the most amazing sommeliers of the world, advanced diploma sommeliers, to learn about wine. I collected wine. I have 2,500 bottles in my cellar at home. It is a thing for me.
Have you got a bottle now?
So yeah, we've got a few. Yeah, there's a bunch of rosé behind the camera. Actually, they're all my wines too.
I like the Pinot. The Pinot's my favorite.
Oh, the Pinot's sensational.
Yeah,
so I actually made it my business because when you look at the business itself, alcohol takes up the largest profit portion of the business.
Yeah,
so not only I made it as a passion project, but that passion project actually spilled over to a profit project. Passion and profit. So I loved it. So I use a 3-step approach when it comes to my sales. I go to the customer, I ask what they like. They give me a bottle that they think they like, but they open for recommendations. If they don't open the door to recommendation, I cut them off and go, can I recommend you a few different things? Let's have some fun with it. They're like, ooh, fun. I'm in a good mood. I'm in my comfort zone of fun. But I come back to the table. I bring the bottles.
Yep.
I bring a
decanter.
Low price.
Yep.
I bring a medium price. I bring a high price bottle. The low price bottle, I talk about it for 15 seconds. The medium price bottle, I talk about for 45 seconds. And the high price bottle, I will waffle on for 2 minutes of how bloody good that fucking thing is. Because it is fucking good.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically in the first 10 seconds, we've identified that the cheapest bottle is not for them. It's not for them.
Yep.
We scrap it off the table. We're down to 2 dominators. So I know for a fact I'm even going medium, I'm going top dog. And I've actually positioned myself to get there every single time.
Yeah.
Every time.
The best wine I've had is in your restaurant, actually, by the way.
Which one?
Torbreck Runrig.
Ooh, yes.
Good bottle.
We love those guys.
See,
Yeah.
I guess I look at my business a bit different to that, to tell you the truth. The way I speak to my staff is I always focus on customer first, and I go, how do we help this person to the level they need to be helped? So when I sit down with them, I figure out, okay, what do you want me? How do you want me to help you? And the only thing I focus on is how do I help these people the most to get them to where they want to be? Rather than, it's a bit different from restaurants and
I'll tell you, mate, I can appreciate and I can appreciate the difference between all 3 of us, but there is a lot of alignments in there as well. But
100%.
at the end of the day, mate, you're helping people's most important assets, their lives and their biggest debts. People look at debt these days and they look like how stressful it is. Mate, debt is tax-free.
Yeah.
Enjoy it while you can, but hustle hard and get on top of it.
Yeah.
People are afraid of debt. I mean,
I love it. Give me more. Give me more.
The idea of having debt, if it's the right one, honestly, will make you money. That's important.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to waffle on about wealth creation. I could waffle on about 3 hours. All in all, the more assets you have, the more money you make over time.
Correct.
So borrowing, people always think debt is bad. My first mentor said to me, you'll never meet someone who became rich through saving.
No.
If you make $100,000 a year, right, after tax it's 75,
Yep.
you spent none of that at all. You spent no money. You didn't eat for a whole year. You did that for 10 years, you have $750,000.
Yep.
Right? You're not going to become a millionaire through saving.
No.
But if you buy a property worth $1 million, okay, you borrow 900,000, in 10 years' time, on average, that property will become worth $2 million.
That's how everyone makes.
Correct.
It's not through their earnings. It's about using that earning to capitalize that into
Leverage.
assets that make money.
Correct.
I love
Cash
the word
flow.
leverage.
Leverage.
Business.
Leverage is great.
Business
Leverage.
and asset. If you look at the top 100 richest people in the world, they're all business owners. Business is the way to generate the most amount of profit. And if you don't work within a business, property follows.
Yeah.
People will talk about shares. Shares are awesome. Okay.
You got to know your stuff, though, right?
Well, if you invest in an index or an ETF, you're pretty safe, right? In terms of getting stable returns. The issue is that property gives you leverage. So your $100,000 now that you put in shares, if you got 10% on that, you get 10 grand a year. But you take $100,000 and buy $1 million property, you've times 10 your returns now.
Yeah.
So that leverage creates the ability to create wealth.
Yeah. Correct.
Outside of that, property and shares, similar assets. If you couldn't borrow against property, if it was dollar for dollar, I would invest in shares.
Sure.
Better diversification.
But the ability to borrow against a property is
You
obviously where
can't
people
compete.
create money. No.
You cannot compete with that. It's one of the most beautiful wonders of the world, being able to do that. It is. If you look at a wealth creation plan by doing that, you can make a lot of money in 10 to 20 years.
A lot of people now are using their home as a major wealth creation tool, not just investment properties. In what
way?
Well, they're using it to keep driving up. It's tax-free.
Well, yeah, correct, yeah.
And keep going up in value. So let's pretend you keep going up. You buy better houses, and you get to a point where you're 70, right? And you've got a home that's worth $10 million. You don't need that home anymore. Tax-free money, you go and sell it, and you buy something for $5 million. You got $5 million tax-free that you can live off at that point. So they just keep pushing up to better and better property.
But I think it all comes down to the ground roots of where it all starts. And at the moment, in this particular environment with this particular generation, it's starting on the wrong foot. To get to where we're talking about now in wealth creation and
You got to earn money.
assets. Well, you got to earn money,
correct,
but
yeah.
unfortunately, you got to suck ass for a little while.
Yeah. And
Just a little while.
that's
You got to learn that. Unfortunately, I need to get my elbows in here.
The work that you do today builds your life for later on.
Totally.
That's an awesome point, right? And you'll see gurus who can make money without working, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're earning $70,000 a year and you save $100 a week and put into shares, so that's $5,000 worth of shares a year. You are never going to become a millionaire ever in your life. It is impossible. You can put as much of your little, dollars and cents into a share account. You're not going to become rich from that. If that's your goal, you shouldn't be doing it that way. It's okay if it's not. You have to decide what's right for you in life. You shouldn't have to be. If you want to be rich, you can be rich. If you want to be poor, you can be poor. Nothing's wrong with either. But people become delusional because these people on Instagram, TikTok will be like, "Oh, I'm on the beach. I was swimming today. Look at my passive income through my affiliate." That's really bullshit.
Yeah.
Mate, it's all fake.
Yeah.
The 1% of people probably can. Like any job, right? 1% of people
happens. It
can do
happens.
it. But on average, it's all
Majority
bullshit.
can't.
No,
It happens.
Absolutely not. It's like people, once again, ramble on. Trading, right? So people get these charts, these stock charts, and they go, there's a double shoulder here, followed by a sledgehammer. That means you sell the stock.
Yep.
And they sell these programs for $1,000 to people. That shit doesn't work. If you're 1%
Good
of
way for the person who made it to make money.
correct, if you're
We didn't get in on it.
1% of traders will make shitloads of money from it.
Sure.
Because they have a special ability to do so. Okay? 86% of anyone who invests in the market, even hedge funds, professional hedge funds in America, do not beat the average returns that the market gives.
Interesting.
So only 14% of people who are paid hundreds of millions of dollars to do a job
Actually win.
can actually win.
Interesting.
That's how
How do we
rigged
get that
the
job?
system is. That's how
Might
rigged the
have to move
system is,
overseas.
honestly.
We'll go to Wall Street.
Let's go.
Correct. That's how rigged it is. It's all a facade.
Maybe we need to get to Wall Street. No real estate, no cooking, no broking.
It sounds like a pretty good life.
Nah,
You good?
not for me,
The
mate.
Wolf,
I just want to help.
I watched him live once. He was in,
Belford.
yeah,
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
How's that?
average.
Oh, really?
Average live. Great
Wow.
on video and on his,
Yeah.
Instagram, that sort of stuff, but it didn't punch through in a big arena.
Do you think
Really?
he's got a good producer or video guy behind him? Maybe that's why the videos
I
look
reckon
good, or?
that it's all about the production.
Yeah.
It's all about the production.
Take note, Brendan, that we're going to be
Usually the
really
pro-
good live.
Really,
one
the
day.
production people
Do you
earn
think
the cream.
potentially he's not as he wasn't as what's the word, perspicacious as he
What's the word?
actually is in portrayed in the movie?
Oh, well, the movie's Hollywood, right?
Well, correct. Exactly.
Leonardo's a great actor.
throwing midgets at dartboards and things like that. Does he really do it, or did he really do it? I don't know.
I think they actually did
I
that.
actually
think
think
was
that
in,
happened,
I think that was in his
yeah.
book. Yeah.
Look, you got to remember when you see him on stage and you're there with 5,000 people, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
I think for him to have success, he had to have a certain amount of strangeness or charisma. That's obviously what he traded off, and he's successful again now.
Correct.
Interesting character.
Well,
Great
I think,
movie.
I think we're all weird in our own little ways. You know, we all have our things. We all stick to our things.
Not
and,
me.
Well, this
Not
is
me.
a dungeon, but everything else is fine.
You know, even for myself, you know, I stick to my strengths. I'm a high functioning ADD, but I look at.
But
the
you don't try and
positives of it.
change that. You work.
No,
You work with it.
I actually work to the strengths of it.
Yeah.
So high functioning ADD mean that I can run all day and maximize from 7 in the morning to 1 o'clock in the morning and fulfill my day from start to finish and feel very fulfilled going to bed at night. I'll sleep like a baby.
Do you?
I must be
Absolutely.
low functioning ADD then.
But I play to
Maybe it's all that
strengths.
great red wine. That
But there
helps
is a
out there.
negative and a positive to it. I have low functioning ADDs who work for me where it's the complete opposite. They can't focus.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. They're
gotta
worried
play to
about
your
everything.
strengths, though.
They're insecure.
But you play to your strengths.
Absolutely.
It
Always
could go the other
play to
way,
your strength.
but that's a mindset. Consciously, if you went the other way, it could be very different.
Yeah, mate. It's a simple thing, mate. You invest the time, you put the effort, and you watch it grow. You can't grow a plant without all the right elements to it.
That's true. I agree with that.
You know, and that's a really simple formula. Lead, motivate, manage. You know, invest, effort, grow. These are things that I always have in the back of my head. I go to the gym. I think while I'm actually bench pressing things and doing whatever, Stephen actually came to the gym with me a few times, and it was rough for the poor guy. But
Did he keep
we
up
got
with
through
you?
it. But you know,
I always keep up,
actually,
mate.
and
I always
Stephen
keep
could
up.
probably back me up on some of this stuff. I was at the gym and I was saying to him, and through these things, like when I was lifting quite heavy and doing this stuff, going, life is much harder than this weight.
Did you outlift him?
Than Stephen.
No, this guy outlifted me easily.
Really?
Mate, come
Machine.
on. I'm not.
Wow.
Come on.
Monster.
My true power comes from
Killer.
my brain.
That's where your strength lies.
That's where my strength lies.
And his
And my
crocs.
Crocs.
And his Crocs.
And he's got
Oh god, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you one question. I know you're a busy man and you got many things to look after, including a whole whack of staff and properties and whatnot. But mate, a dodgy real estate story. Do you have one to finish off this segment? Do you have something juicy that's on the top of your head, or are you very much in the side of we're all pretty
when you
good
say
on our
dodgy
side.
real estate, sorry, this is a question without notice, everybody, by the way. So I haven't thought
Absolutely,
about
yeah,
this.
this is a random one.
But to be fair, none of this was with notice, so this is all random. Look, there's a few stories that spring to mind. I've heard about an agent. There's a few. I'm going to tell you a couple of them. One, if you want to hear about a dodgy agent, I've heard about. Have you ever bought a property? You've seen the contract of sale. You get a sewerage services diagram,
Yep.
which shows you the block of land and where the sewer runs on it. I've heard of an agent that got busted many years ago, when it wasn't electronic, liquid papering out and recopying that diagram so that it looked like it was a clear block of land rather than a sewer running through it. So he's no longer in real estate anymore, surprisingly.
Really?
I wonder why.
I can't imagine why. Pretty interesting. Very
What a shame.
very much on reputation for agents. What did he say?
He goes, well, that's shit.
So he was short-lived. Talk about cutting corners. I've heard about in the real estate sense agents going through and being busted on camera, going through underwear drawers and all that sort of stuff. Not me, so don't invite me around to your house. I don't have your fetish. It's okay. Going through the underwear. Imagine that. You're in the client's house.
Yeah.
They're out. They've got some camera set up inside, whether it's hidden or whatever it is, and the agent's there shifting through the undies. A bit of an undie sniffer. So that I've heard. I've heard of that.
Oh, God.
I've heard of a whole range of stuff.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah.
So reputation
I
of
know a few
agents
stories.
is
I'm not going to go into it.
of
You got anything
agents.
else?
Or?
Well, look, all in all, I won't go into the raunchy stories I've heard before.
I've
Love
walked
it,
in on
Roger.
someone naked. I have done that when I was a young property officer kind of thing.
Right, okay.
And I went to the house and you knock on the door, knock, and you think someone's there because you hear noise, but they're not. But you've got an appointment, so you go in, you open the door. Hey, how are you? And anyway, you go in, and then they come out of the bedroom and they're.
Bingo. You saw
Yeah.
it all.
I saw it all.
Wow.
And they weren't awkward about it.
Right.
Oh.
They were kind of like a bit taken back. Oh, sorry, I forgot you had the appointment. Very casual about it though, and
Wow.
it's like
Very indie. about
you
it.
don't know where to look. You're just sort of searching around. It's nothing.
Did you shake their hand?
No. I was like young.
Look,
Imagine that Imagine him walking in and he's lying butt naked in bed. I mean,
That's how I'll get
Morning.
greeted. That's how I get greeted
Morning.
every time I go to his house.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Oh,
Look,
well.
all in all, look, there's dodgy people in every industry, right? Real estate agents get a bad rap sometimes.
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 Oh, okay.
Sometimes they do. Look, there are some bad agents. I know. I won't even say who they are.
There's some horrible
There's a couple
agents.
grubs out, absolute grub.
Wow.
And I hate when people
Word.
lie. It is a word. Because I hate when people lie to clients or people trying to buy property. And I've caught some doing it to my clients.
Yeah.
Where they'll get termite or building and pest reports. They say there's no termites. And it looks like there's termites. So we get another one. And there's termites through the whole house. And these people still operate today. And you know who you are. You're a grub. You're an absolute grub, mate. And you're trying to rip people out of their good, hard-earned money because you're a loser and you can't
Yes.
do your job well.
Fucking love it when
I'm
Stephen's like this.
so against that. Honestly, I'm so against
I
that.
think that goes
It's
back to what we
disgusting.
talked about before.
That's
There's
the hottest
grubs in
thing you've
every
ever said,
industry.
Stephen.
And you know what it is? Short-term money grabs.
Correct.
That's all it is.
No, the most
Oh.
important thing is helping people make their life better. And if
You've
you're
got to think about it, right? Think about it today. You walk into... I think about this when I'm at a property or I'm bidding, auctioning, and someone's bidding. If I were in their shoes and I wasn't in real estate, it's actually bloody stressful. You're
It's
nervous.
extremely stressful.
I bid at auction and bought. And on the flip side of the fence, I'm always conscious of it because it's a hard thing to dehumanize. It's a tough thing for anyone to do. Move home, sell their property, buy a property, bid at auction, be a vendor or a buyer. And not every agent is perfect, but if you have a level of empathy toward people and put yourself in their shoes, that's a good moral compass in life, I think.
correct.
Just focus on your skills.
Well, even
and
from
show
us
them
as well, on the mortgage broking side of things, the clients are depending on us to get the finance approved.
Yeah.
So we're juggling real estate, conveyances, and it is highly emotional. Every
Yeah.
property I've ever bought in my life, it stresses me out sometimes.
100%.
And
I'm the same.
And people would say, "Oh, you know, but you know how I know how it is," and it still stresses me out.
You think about it, if you're an agent or a broker and you haven't gone through that process, you don't really understand
No.
it properly, I don't think.
Mate, my first property I ever purchased, I was 19, 20, with my wife, now wife, back then girlfriend.
Yep.
I would have been the world's worst client. I was carrying on like a Fruit Loop. I didn't know what was going on. I was.
Do you still have it?
that one? I still have that one. Yeah, I do.
And he still carries on too.
And I still carry on.
Yeah.
But not like
Should
that.
seem after a few
Now,
drinks in him.
no girlfriend involved wife, she'll put you in line. Don't
No,
worry.
she does. But what I did was because I was just scared. But now when I have clients who are first home buyers, right, it really allows me to connect with them because when
Yeah.
I see them being scared, I know exactly how that feels because
It's true.
I was there. And it's nothing personally against me. It's just that they're scared and they haven't done it before.
The
And
most successful people always reflect back on that, and they put themselves in the client's shoes, and you do treat people
Correct.
in a much better way that way.
And the funny thing is, the person who was facilitating the loan, one of the staff who was working for the broker at the time,
Yeah,
when was that? 8 years ago,
yeah.
who I was abusing and whatnot because I didn't know. She now works for me.
Full circle.
Correct. Yes, correct.
Full
So we can see.
Sticks.
So we can see that there's some personal growth there.
Talk
Jesus.
about
Wow.
Correct.
Okay.
had to
Well,
have personal growth.
okay.
Yeah, well, she's
Well,
incredible, mate. She's the best in the industry. Absolute best settlements officer in the industry.
mate, that's
a
bloody
wrap.
awesome.
She's going to hit for a pay rise when she watches this.
She did yesterday.
Well, there was a second one coming up soon.
She's just penciled in 2 months' time. Best
Well,
in the industry.
Well, guys, I think it's time to go and grab a steak and a glass of wine. But
From
I
where?
think, well, I don't know. I think it's a really good place down the
Outback
road.
Steakhouse?
Norwest.
Je me sais quoi. I think what we can take out of today is, that the greatest asset in your life is yourself.
100%.
Correct.
Number one.
Yep.
Your
Has to
number
be.
one comes you.
And do
and I know there'll be a lot of arguments behind this. Is like, no, you need to put everyone before you. Well, guess what? Half those guys are losers. They're not
What do
there.
they tell you in the plane with your oxygen mask?
Grab
can't-
your own shit.
Can't help anyone until
Yeah.
you help yourself.
Do your own shit.
Can't help
You're
anyone
in
until you
control
help
of your own body. You're in
Yeah.
control of your own destiny, and it's completely up to you. In most cases, to try and navigate that ship.
Yep.
Okay, you do get some turbulence along the way, but it's how you conquer that turbulence will determine what comes next.
Also-
I never ever believed that a sailor, a great sailor, only sailed through flat lakes,
Well, they never became great.
not
by
through
doing that.
Norwest Lake.
Norway.
Also, do what makes you happy, right? don't think you have to do something.
Purpose.
You have to be like Josh. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to be like Matt. You just have to find what makes you happy. That's the
True to
biggest
yourself.
thing. Yeah, well, anyone can sit here and be a big, loud man on a lounge and tell everyone that's the right way to be. You know, we're all big, loud men. But, you know, sometimes that's not what everyone is. And just understand it and be happy with life. If you're not
Find your
happy,
purpose, yeah.
it's a pressure on you telling you you're doing something wrong. So go find out what you're doing wrong, change it.
Mate, it's a purpose, it's a choice.
Correct.
And we've all got choices and there's opportunities
True.
and up to us to create them, to find our course and to make it work. Thank you, Matt.
Thank
Pleasure,
you very
boys.
much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for having
Stephen.
me. Awesome.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, everyone.
Young, not dumb, not broke.
We are, but who knows?
Australia's #1 new podcast.
This is Australia's #1
Keep
new
an eye out for
podcast.
it.
This is it.
This is it.
We've put our reputations on it.
Mate, very humble to have you here.
Thank you.
And I think it's time for a steak. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So-